it's your girl Brain Shanae. Long time no see. I am finally here. I'm finally here to share with y'all my May reading wrap up. May was, I can't complain. It was a fantastic reading month for me. I feel like throughout this entire year, I've read the most in May. I think I read over 30 books. That includes picture books, mangas, novellas, you name it. So all my books are all over the place, and there's no way I did not even want to bring in the effort of stacking the books up and showing you one by one all the books that I read. So pretty much they're going to pop up right here, all the books that I've read, and I'm going to share with you my ratings, how I felt about it. I'll let you know if I did a book review for it as well. So there's that. So the first book that I read is a manhwa, and that is Why Rihanna Ended Up at the Duke's Mansion. This is volume 6. I'm using my good old laptop, my MacBook, to share with y'all all the books I read, because I honestly don't remember all of them. I was just going through books like they were nothing. So like I said, this is the 6th volume. It also is an anime, which, if you're not interested in reading this, I suggest you watch the anime. It's really good. It's on Crunchyroll. And I actually really enjoy this manhwa. It's really good. I like the pacing of it. I like the little bit romance aspect or romance interest in it as well. And it's very intriguing and it's very mysterious, because we're pretty much in this world where a girl, she was at a normal world or whatever, and then she dies, and then she ends up being Rihanna, which which in the video game that she played in her normal world, the main protagonist was the person that the Duke that she is supposedly is with, that's the protagonist's fiance or whatever. But I don't want to get more into it. I really highly suggest that you read this if you get a chance. I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. It's really good. It keeps me intrigued, and that's what I like most about this particular manhwa. It's very intriguing and it's very mysterious at the same time. But yeah, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. And so for these next 3 books, these are novellas, and of course it was AAPI last month in May. So I wanted to read these particularly because I love this series. This is the Singing Hills Cycle series by Nevo. And so I read Into the Riverlands, and then I also read Mammoths at the Gates. And then I read the newest release that just recently came out as well, and that is Mammoths at the Gates. I gave these each 4 out of 5 stars. They were fantastic. I will read anything by Nevo. The writing is spectacular. I like the cleric. I like the storytelling. I like all these different characters within these books. They bring a lot of lessons to a lot of things, especially when you have the cleric, who is recording all these amazing stories and stuff like that. So I love this series so much. So sorry. I read Enter the Riverlands, Mammoths at the Gates, and then Brides of High Hill. That's the newest one that just released. So I apologize if I confuse y'all. But yeah, so once again, I read Enter the Riverlands, which I rated a 4 out of 5 stars. Then Mammoths at the Gates, which I also gave 4 out of 5 stars, and that book published in 2023. The book that we just recently released is The Brides of High Hill, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars as well. And I love each and every one of these covers. They're really beautiful. I like that the vibrant colors and the animals that are on these covers as well. So I'm in love with this series. I can't not wait. I'm excited for the next books. I think there's going to be a total of 8 books. That's according to Goodreads. I could be completely wrong. But anything by Nevo, I'm going to read 100%. Author by author for me. I don't have these novellas physically. I don't own them. One day, I probably will own them all. But right now, I was just using Libby. Good old Libby. Gotta love Libby. So let's move on to the next books that I read. Now, this next one is also another manhwa, and I'm really loving this one particularly. It sort of gives you, you know, why Aureliana ended up at the Duke's Mansion type of vibes. But there are two different complete different manhwas. So this next one is Villains Are Destined to Die. This is volume 6. And I really enjoyed this one so much. I like that it's pretty much how it's like a video game where she has to pretty much keep everybody's interest at bay based on the percentages of what they have. So it's really interesting. I don't like when it comes to manhwas and stuff, I don't want to get too in depth with the story because I do not want to spoil it for y'all. I want to be fully immersed into these worlds of each of the manhwas that I'm sharing with y'all today because they're really good, and I think you should definitely give it a try to see what you think. So just pick up volume 1 from your library and give it a try, and see what you think. But I rated this a 4 out of 5 stars. But I really enjoyed this, and of course I love the cover as well. It's pink and purpley. I love it. So yeah, if you're definitely interested in manhwa or anything like that with some type of interest, whether it is something where the main character is trying to just survive, I think you should pick this one up. So definitely pick that up if you don't get a chance. The next one that I read, which I also did a book review for, which I'm not going to go too much in depth with this particular book since I did a book review, but I'll leave the link up above so that you can check it out yourself. And that is Troubled Waters. This is by Mary Anais Hegler. This was really such a good book. I highly recommend that you do so. But like I said, I'm not going to go more in depth with this. I'm not going to say as much. I want y'all to go, like, after you watch this video, go check out my book review for this. And let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. The next book that I read, which was one of my disappointing reads of 2024 thus far, I really wanted to love this book and I couldn't. And I really thought it was just my mood and I thought it was just me, but no, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. It wasn't hitting. Like, I was trying to read it, then put it back down after a couple of days, then pick it up again. It was just something was missing in this book entirely. I just felt like a lot of stuff was going on. Sometimes you got confused as to what was happening. It was just a lot was happening. And I think it was just too much in my opinion. But I don't want to deter you from not reading it. I still want you to form your own opinion about it. But for me, this book was just not it for me particularly. But the book I'm talking about is The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste. This was one of my highly anticipated reads of 2024, especially with what happened with the author, which we're not even going to talk about anymore, about her sabotaging all these different authors, and Bethany Baptiste was one of them. And so I was like, yes, I'm ready to hype up this book. I was ready to read it, and it got pushed back a couple times, but I was okay with that. I'm like, you know what? Take your time. If it needs to be pushed back, it needs to be pushed back. You take all the time you need to make sure this book is phenomenal. And so once it finally came out, I hybrid read it. I listened to the audio, plus I had the book physically. And I just couldn't get into it. And unfortunately, I rated it a 2 out of 5 stars. It just, like I said, it wasn't for me, and I'm going to leave it at that. The next one that I read is manga, and that is volume 4 of this amazing book. Manga is Dinosaur Sanctuary, and like I said, this is volume 4. And Ashley from the Bookish Realm hooked me onto this, especially when she was like, this is like Jurassic World, Jurassic Park type of vibes. And I'm like, oh, say less. So literally I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. We're learning about, dinosaurs, and we're also learning about these, different characters that are working in these zoos pretty much, but they're a zoo full of dinosaurs, and they're trying to think of different techniques and different ways for bringing people into the resorts and to these parks, because that way, they stay open. So I really love Dinosaur Sanctuary. Each and every one of them brings something new to the table. It brings new facts about certain dinosaurs as well, which I love. I've always been a dinosaur person, if you didn't know. But yeah, Dinosaur Sanctuary Volume 4, amazing read. I can't go wrong with Dinosaur Sanctuary. And so for this next one, a group of us, we are reading Iceland Barbarians, all the books this year. in May we read the next 5 that we read, and then in July we're going to read the following 5. So for this one we read Barbarian's Choice, this is book 11 in the Ice Planet Barbarians series by Ruby Dixon. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. And then for the 12th book, let me get it. I'm trying to get things together, y'all. Sorry, just be patient with me. So for the 12th book, Barbarian's Redemption, I also gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. As you can see here, the covers. Book 13, Barbarian's Lady, I also gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. These are just really great books. I find them very interesting. I find them intriguing. It's not all about the same stuff. You know, there's some spicy and steaminess within these books, but each and every one of these characters are completely different with different circumstances, and I just enjoy them so much. Like, Tiffany, I still is like my favorite character, of course, obviously. But each and every one of these characters brings something to the table, and they, like I said, they all have different circumstances. They all have different personalities. So they're all really good. And so the 14th book that we read was Barbarian's Rescue, which I also gave a 4 out of 5 stars. And then also Barbarian's Tease, I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. And it was really good. All these characters are just so freaking good. I love it. And so literally in July, we're going to be reading the next 5, which is Barbarian's Beloved, Barbarian's Seduction, Barbarian's Treasure, Barbarian's Bride, and so on. So, like I said, I really am enjoying, our group chat is called Blue Peen, and it's funny, but like Spurs and all this, I didn't think that, I never thought that I would love Ice Planet Barbarians as much as I do now. So thank you all. Y'all know who y'all are that introduced this whole new thing for me. Like, I've heard about Ruby Dixon and Ice Planet Barbarians, but I never thought to like pick it up like ever. So thank you so much for introducing this to me, and I'm just glad that y'all got me on this little train right here that we have going. But yeah, each and every one of these books are pretty good, and they're unique in their own ways. I feel like sometimes you probably could read them as a standalone, but then again, you're not going to know all these side characters that are popping up from previous books. So just keep that in mind. And so the next manga that I'm really sorry if y'all hear noise in the background, it is my dog. He is playing with his bone and he's doing the most over there, so I'm sorry if y'all hear little scratchy footsteps going on, because that's him. He's on his little mat, and right now he's chasing after his tail, like literally. I'm surprised he's not even over here. He's really intrigued with his tail, so I'm just gonna keep him there. But the next one that I read is it's a manga, and that is Sign of Affection. This is volume 8, and I love this so freaking much. Like, I watched the anime and I am hooked. I'm hoping that it'll be announced of a second season, because I need more. I need more, so more of Isuomi and Yuki. Like, I need them. I need them. So like, I'm even excited for the 9th volume, which I think comes out in July. Hold on. Let me see. I think it comes out in July, but don't quote me on it. I don't see it, y'all. Yep, it comes out July 13th. So, and that's the 9th volume. So there's going to be 2 more volumes, I think, that come out this year. I could be wrong, but I love A Sign of Affection. Like I said, I love Utsuomi, and I love Yuki. Those 2 characters are amazing. And then the anime, so freaking good. So just FYI, but and the manga so far, it's farther ahead than the show. So I feel like if you watch the show and you've caught up with the mangas that have been out now, you should be fine. So yeah, really enjoy this. Gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, of course. I had to. But yeah, I really love A Sign of Affection. It's so freaking good. The next one that I read, This is by Renee Watson. It's called She Persisted and it's talking about Oprah Winfrey. I saw this on Libby and I was like, oh, this is a quick read, so why not? So it goes into more in depth of a detail regarding Oprah Winfrey. And I believe I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars because this is about, it's about Oprah and it's about her life. I can't really say much about it, except for like the pacing of the story and the stories that she was bringing to light regarding Oprah and her life and where she grew up. So I really appreciated the story and what it brought to the table, which is why I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book, which I don't know, I was a little disappointed, but then again, it's like, it was still good. And I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. And that, the book is An Education of Malice, An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. Now, I love A Diary of Blood. Like, oh my God. So freaking good. But An Education in Malice, for some reason I kept hearing people saying that it's like a companion to A Diary of Blood, but it's like no, it's not. But I did there's a lot of content warnings within this book as well, so just keep that, just letting y'all know right now. But it was okay. Like I said, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Now, what I'm really interested in reading is Evocation by S.T. Gibson, because I've heard nothing but great things about that, which recently came out, I believe. So, but anyways, for An Education in Malice, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I was expecting a little bit more. There was vampires in it, of course, but not like Diary of Blood, right? Not to that extent, not to that degree. That I don't know what it was, but Diary of Blood just hit different than An Education in Malice. But it is what it is, right? I can't complain. I still really enjoyed the book. It's just not as much as I enjoyed Diary of Blood. But I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, so that's still a good rating, right? Still good rating. The next books that I read, they were picture books. One was The Proudest Blue. And I really enjoyed that book. I was at the library and I was just sitting down reading it. It was in my vlog, which I'll leave up above so you can check that out. When I was visiting my local library that recently just reopened because of the renovations and stuff like that with the new building. It's beautiful. I'll leave that, like I said, I'll leave that link up above. I also read Like So by Ruth Foreman. And then I also read It's Pride Baby, which this is a perfect book to read as well, since it is Pride Month. And that is by Alan R. Wells, and the illustrator is by Dia Valhe. And then the next book that I read, another picture book, is Aloha Everything by Kaylin Milia George, and the illustrator is May Waite. This was a fantastic book. I'll even read the description. It says, "Welcome to Aloha Everything, a magical story that will take you on a thrilling journey through the enchanting islands of Hawaii. In this exciting adventure, you'll encounter mighty canoes crashing over ocean waves, royal hawks soaring high above the clouds, and brilliant lizard creatures jumping nimbly through forest trees. Most importantly, you'll meet a courageous young girl named Ano who learns, grows, and comes to love her island home with all her heart. Aloha Everything is both a captivating read and a fantastic educational resource for learning about Hawaii history, ecology, and culture. With breathtaking hand-painted illustrations and a beautiful rhyming scheme that will lull little ones into brilliant dreams of vibrant adventures, this book is sure to capture the hearts of both children and parents alike. Get ready to embark on an unforgettable journey." And I literally that description said it, like, it's down to the T. It really is immersive. The pictures are beautiful. The illustrations are just phenomenal. I do want to eventually own this and have this as part of my kids' books that they have, because this book is just really freaking good. And I just love the pictures in it. And like y'all can just see right now, the cover is beautiful and it's giving. The next book that I read was Recitative, which is by Toni Morrison. I had talked about this in my vlog. I don't want to say more about it. You'll definitely have to check it out. Like I said, the link is up above. I did give it a 5 out of 5 stars if you wanted to know. The next book that I also read, which I also read in my vlog, which Woke Up No Light by Layla Motley. She also had written Night Crawling, which I really enjoyed, and I read this with my members, I think maybe 2 years ago, I think. But yeah, Woke Up No Light was just a quick read. And it was just really beautiful. It says a pungent, rousing debut book of poetry full of life from the former youth poet laureate of Oakland, California. And yeah, like, this was just a phenomenal book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and it was just really good pacing as well. The next picture book that I read, which I love this book so much, and I really want to have this for my kids. So it's another book that I want to have physically, and that is Summer is Here by Renee Watson, and the illustrations is by B. Jackson and Brittany Jackson. And this is just a fantastic read and a fantastic book, and the cover is just freaking amazing. I can't say anything more about it. Like, if you like picture books, I highly recommend that you go out and read it. But of course, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars because it's brilliant and I loved it. The next book that I read, which was for Gabby from The Curious Owl, she's doing a read along for The Witcher, and that is Baptism of Fire. This is book number 3 in the series, I believe, and I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't bad. I will say there was some times where I was bored. You know, I know that's bad to say, but I'm just going to be 100 with y'all and keep 100 with y'all. But otherwise, do I want to read the next one? Sure, why not? Because I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I tried to read this series at the beginning of last year and I just completely fell off because I was bored. But now I'm like, okay, now that I'm back into it and read The Baptism of Fire, I'm like, okay, I'll give it another go. So yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, and I'm intrigued what happens next, which I have a feeling I know already, but still, it was still pretty good. The next book that I read, which was also one of my highly anticipated reads of this year, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, which I even have the book right next to me, and that is Blood at the Root by Ladarian Williams. I really enjoyed this book. I love the main character, Malik. I will let y'all know, like, this book, it had you thinking a lot about certain things, about your ancestors and whatnot. But I also want to read you the author's note, just to give you an idea of what, if you haven't read this book, of what you will be getting yourself into in a good way. But it says, what's up, Batter fam? Yes, that's going to be our slogan for now on. Picture it. Listen, the world of Blood at the Root, or Batter, as I like to call it, first came to me in early 2020. It bothered me for years, but it didn't manifest itself until the entire world had to shut down due to COVID-19. For the first time in a long time, I had to sit around and think, dream, revel in my anger, because this was when George Floyd was murdered for all the world to see. In that fit of righteous rage, this was when Malik Barron finally revealed himself to me and told me to write his story. This beautiful black boy has been with me since I was dreaming in my childhood home in Helena, Alabama. He told me to go against the grain and tell his story that will not be in death but in glory. Far too often, I would see Black death and not life, in plays, films, social media, and even in books. I came up and was in high school during the big young adult boom in films and television, like Twilight, The Hunger Games, Maze Runner, Divergent, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, the Vampire Diaries, all of them. However, those characters look different from my friends. They didn't speak with that southern twang. I didn't see my mama, my grandmama, my cousins, and them in those stories. Though I loved them, I felt distant from the stories and characters. And if we were in them, we were often relegated to being a side character to propel and humanize the white main character. I'd always heard that black boys don't read. Maybe that's why sports are pushed so hard on black males, or why so many educators push them through the system without proper accommodations. Maybe that's why publishers don't feel the need to curate content geared toward them. But I must pose a question. Is it that black boys don't read, or that black boys are just not interested in reading whatever is put in front of them? If you have young black men constantly reading about white main characters, specifically white privileged male characters that don't reflect their identity or that they simply don't relate to, it's going to make them reluctant to read, which I agree with. The late, great Toni Morrison once said, if you find a book you really want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. I carry those words with me everywhere I go. Black boys surely deserve stories filled with magic, wonder, and warm summer rain. Black boys deserve to have their origin stories. Black boys deserve to have the fullness of their power revered. They need to remember that they are magic, that blackness is magic. It's in the soil of the South, beyond the Louisiana bayou, resting with the bones of our ancestors that triumphed over the Middle Passage, where whitewashed voodoo was called by its sweeter true name and werewolves were not diminished to lowly dogs, where regal kings of the jungles and vampires were known by their original melanated faces. That is where the magic is. The magic lingers at the harbor docks in Charleston, South Carolina, and in the bowls of cotton in Georgia, and it blooms in Alabama, a forgotten mecca of magical blackness. Let black boys hear the cicadas sing their songs to the Alabama sky. Let them feel that syrupy sweat sticking their clothes to their body. Let their stories be filled with the smell of the sweet cornbread and collard greens of their grandma's cooking. Let the words on the page reveal our young black boys who will be sitting at the feet of their grandparents and meet God. Let them spin magic from their fingers. Let them hold stars in their hair. Let black boys be the alchemists in their stories. Let black boys be seen. Let them be colored softly. Let them fall in love. Let them have adventures. And let black boys be the heroes of their own stories. More than having magical powers, I want black boys to find themselves by establishing their roots. I want them to make mistakes, and I want them to feel seen. Something I so desperately hoped for when I was a youth in Alabama. I want them to unlock a world that tells them they can choose who they want to be. A world that tells them they deserve to be centered and loved. Whether they decide to wield a magical sword, astral project to another dimension, or find love in a whirlwind romance. When black boys find magic, they find themselves. Stay blagical, batter fam. Sincerely, Ladarian Williams. So with just that alone, you have a sense and an idea of what you're going to get yourself into while reading this. Like I said, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I gave it a 3.5 and I rounded it up to a 4-star. I really enjoyed this book. It was a great pacing, but I think there was something about it, but it's still a great book. And I'm really excited to read more by Ladarian Williams. For this to be the debut, like, awesome. Like, such a great book. I enjoyed it. Now I will mind you, there is some moments of where you delve into a lot of family secrets. So definitely keep that in mind. I know some people are tired of that, but it's still rooted in the Black community. It's still rooted in Black families, and that's a cycle we still have yet broken, or at least I can't speak for everybody, but in my family, that cycle is still, I feel like for the family that I have grown with my kids and my husband, we have broken that cycle. But when it comes to like my mother and her sisters and stuff like that, there's secrets that still need to be brought to the light. But as far as my family and my kids and my husband, there's no secrets. We don't do secrets here. We be 100% with each other. We tell each other the truth, even though it may hurt. We are completely honest, and that's what we are. That's how we are. That's how we roll in this household. But yeah, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and it was such a great read. I still highly recommend it. But just with reading that author's note alone, you get a feeling and a sense of what you're going to dip into. And I will say, like, this book it won't disappoint you either way. So yeah, I really enjoyed Blood of the Root, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read, it's a picture book. It is Santa in the City. Now, why am I reading Santa in the City and it was May? I don't know, maybe because it was by Tiffany D. Jackson and I just wanted to read something by her before her next book came out. So it's a picture book, Santa in the City, and of course I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It was a cute read and I enjoyed it, and my kids enjoyed it as well. So yeah, it was a fast read, but I still loved it. The next book that I read, which I plan on doing a book review for it, its own single book review, and that is Thirsty by Jas Hammonds. The writing of this book is phenomenal, but I don't want to go more in detail with it. I will say that I rated it I will say I rated it a 5 out of 5 stars. So just keep that in mind. But this is for Thirsty is going to be entirely entirely one video. So definitely stay tuned for that. And last but not least, or not necessarily not last, actually, I read Iyanu, Child of Wonder, Volume 3. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, or excuse me, 5 out of 5 stars. And I really enjoyed this. And now knowing that it's going to be like a TV series or whatever, I'm here for it. Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. The next ones that I read are Saga. I read volumes 9 through 10. It's Saga, by Brian K. Vaughan. And I really enjoyed this. I was supposed to finish with this or be caught up with this like 2 years ago, and I fell off for some odd reason. So I'm like, okay, I need to get back into Saga. I still have to read volumes 10 and 11, which I plan on doing that this in June. But I gave each volume a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, or excuse me, 5 out of 5 stars. They all are just phenomenal, and you learn so much, and I don't know what it is. It's just Saga is so freaking good, y'all. So freaking good. Like I can't complain about it. Like the writing, like this beautiful, the graphics are phenomenal. Hazel, and let her mom and dad go through, it's just crazy. And it's like it's always something tragic is always happening. They never catch a break, like ever. Something always happens, and it's devastating, especially like the volume. Or wait, I read volumes, let me see. I read volumes 7 through 9, excuse me. I read volumes 7 through 9, and then the 9th volume, I was in tears. I'm not gonna lie, like it got me. But I gave each volume a 5 out of 5 stars. It was such great reads, even though there was a lot of heartbreak and a lot of tears shed. Like literally, I was bawling because it's like, okay, this is really crazy, and this is like so realistic in so many ways. But yeah, I really enjoyed Saga. I'm excited to read volumes 10 and 11. That way I can be caught up with it finally. But that is it. That is my May reading wrap up. Like I said, this was like, May was the best month that I've read. Like as far as how many books that I've read, the best reading month. That's pretty much how I could say it. Like the January, February, and March and April, they were still good reading months. I still read more than 5 books, but to read this many in 1 month, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back, because I literally just kept going through books, because I was like, I don't know why I'm constantly reading this and reading that. I'm like, I was just intrigued and immersed, and I just wanted to step out of reality. And I obviously, last month was tough because it's like I just constantly kept reading. But yeah, that is my reading, my May reading month, my May reading wrap up. I know this video was all over the place. I know that you were hearing noises in the background due to my puppy, so I do apologize about that. But then again, I'm still human, and it's not always going to be the best quality based off of where I am, or what's going on in the world. It's things that are out of my control. And I'm trying to get into that of where I can't control things. Some things, they're always going to be out of my control, and I got to get my mind right with that, because it's like, man, I really want this to be this, but in reality, it's not always going to be my way, right? Not everything is going to be how I want it to be. But I really hope you enjoyed this wrap up. I really do. I still have to do my June TPR, so stay tuned for that. And also stay tuned for my book review, Thirsty by Jas Hammonds. So definitely stay tuned for that. But once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Definitely give me a thumbs up and hit that like button. It helps out the channel. But anyways, once again, thank you so much. And I hope you all are staying healthy and staying safe. And I'll catch y'all next time. Bye, everyone.